Why are you ignoring me? I've decided not to engage with strangers. I see. Then I'll just go on living with my in-laws, who completely ignore me. I expected it from my mother-in-law, but I never imagined my father-in-law would treat me the same. The change wasn't random, it was because of my sister-in-law. Ever since she came back, our peaceful life has been destroyed. Don't regret this. Regret? Please, you wish. I packed my bags and left. 3 days later, I heard that the house had descended into chaos. I first met my husband at work. He was in sales, and I was his main contact. He wasn't conventionally handsome, but he had a magnetic presence, and he treated me with kindness that felt genuine. He had options, plenty of women liked him, but for some reason, he chose me. We started dating. During one of our early conversations, he told me about his parents and his sister. I told him about losing my parents young and growing up in an orphanage. It was a hard subject, but I didn't want to hide it. That must have been tough, he said, but don't worry, I'll always be here for you. He meant it. Before long, he proposed. From the start, marriage had been his intention. When he introduced me to his parents, I told them my story. They assured me it made no difference to them, and I believed them. Only his sister seemed startled. You grew up in an orphanage? She asked, and my husband quickly scolded her. In hindsight, she probably disliked me from the very first moment. At the time, I brushed it off. Before the wedding, my husband suggested we live with his parents. I hesitated, but I also longed for family life, something I'd missed since losing my parents. After we married, I ended up moving in with them while my husband was transferred for work. Balancing my job and the role of daughter-in-law wasn't easy, but my in-laws treated me well, and I truly felt part of the family. That is, until the day my father-in-law asked to speak with me privately. With my mother-in-law out shopping, he told me he'd taken a leave of absence from work. His health was failing, his boss was difficult, and he'd been hiding his struggles to avoid upsetting his wife, who tended to be critical rather than compassionate. If she finds out, she might even divorce me, he said quietly. His words hit me hard. My in-laws had never treated me differently because of my background. I felt I owed them my support. Understood, I told him. I'll send money each month, just use it for the household. He promised to recover quickly. From then on, he pretended to go to work while I quietly transferred money into his account. My mother-in-law never noticed. His health improved, until my sister-in-law came home after a fight with her husband. I'll be staying here a while, she announced. Make meals for me too. Her dislike for me had always been obvious. Sour expressions at the wedding, cruel comments about my background, even suggesting my husband could have married someone prettier. But since she'd lived elsewhere, I'd been spared daily encounters. Now she was back, and within days, the atmosphere changed. One evening, my mother-in-law confronted me. Did you know you've been bad-mouthing me? What? I've never said anything bad about you. You've been kind to me, why would I? She gave a cold little shrug. You've just been pretending to be the good daughter-in-law. Fine, whatever. From the hallway, my sister-in-law smirked. Looks like you've shown your true colors. Guess your background really does show. I glared at her. I haven't badmouthed anyone. Oh, the neighbors say otherwise, she said airily. Can't remember their names, it's been so long since I moved out. I shook my head. Stop making things up. She widened her eyes in mock offense. Mom, she's calling me a liar and bullying me. And with that, she marched into her mother's room, sealing my fate in that household. My sister-in-law seemed to have made it her personal mission to criticize me at every possible opportunity. It didn't matter how small or insignificant the matter was. If she could twist it into an accusation, she would. And every time, I found myself defending actions I hadn't taken, words I hadn't spoken. What hurt even more was that my mother-in-law seemed to swallow every lie without a second thought. It was as if my sister-in-law's voice carried more weight in this household than the truth itself. Her words dripped with poison, and yet they sounded like honey to my mother-in-law's ears. I began to wonder if my sister-in-law had always had this power over her, or if I had somehow become the convenient villain in a family drama I never asked to be part of. She moved through her days as if she owned the place, relaxed, entitled, and with no sign of leaving. I couldn't help but wonder if she intended to stay here indefinitely. and the thought made my stomach knot. With these worries heavy on my mind, I headed home that evening. "I'm home," I called out from the doorway, forcing my voice to sound steady. Once upon a time, my mother-in-law's cheerful, "Welcome back," would have floated from the living room. Those simple words used to make me feel like I belonged here. But that night, the house was eerily silent, the only sound the faint murmur of the TV. "I'll get dinner ready," I announced as I slipped off my shoes and walked toward the living room. The sight that greeted me made me stop dead in my tracks. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, and sister-in-law were already gathered around the low table, eating sushi. Sushi, something we rarely had unless it was for a special occasion. My sister-in-law, who normally would have ordered me to hurry up and cook, looked up with a mock surprised expression. "Oh, look," she said, tilting her head in fake innocence. "Someone who isn't family just got home. You're not thinking of having sushi, are you?" My mother-in-law didn't even glance at me. She continued eating, eyes fixed on the television. "If you wanted sushi," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, "you could have told me." I rushed home after shopping for dinner. No one said a word. My sister-in-law's attention was already elsewhere. "Hey, Mom, Dad," she said brightly. "I went out with my friends today and bought some delicious pudding. Let's have it together." She placed the small containers on the table, her voice sugar-sweet. The three of them dug in. No one offered me a bite. I stood there for a moment, the scene pressing in on me like a weight. After a long day at work, I didn't have the energy to argue or even feel angry. I simply turned and went to my room without touching the groceries I had brought. The next morning, my sister-in-law caught me before I left for work. "Hey, I'm meeting some friends later. Can you drive me to the station?" It was a weekday, and I had a full schedule ahead of me. "I can't," I replied. "I have work, and besides, the route you want to take is completely out of my way." She waved a dismissive hand. "Just take a day off. It's fine. Your cute little sister-in-law just wants a ride. She never had the chance to hang out after she got married, right? Can't you be a bit kinder?" I stared at her in disbelief. "With all due respect, didn't you go out last night after a late-night call? You've been going out almost every day since you came home." "I have work. Please take the bus or the train." From the kitchen, I heard my mother-in-law and sister-in-law muttering under their breath. I didn't even bother asking what they were saying. I simply grabbed my bag and left for work. That evening, the breaking point came. It was late when I finally finished my tasks at the office. On my way home, I stopped to pick up groceries again, bracing myself for the cold reception that awaited me. By the time I left the store, the rain had started, a heavy, relentless downpour. In the few seconds it took to run from my car to the house, I was soaked through. Inside, the scene was eerily familiar, the three of them at the table, eating takeout, not even acknowledging my presence. My clothes clung to me as I stood in the hallway, but I didn't move toward the kitchen. That's when something outside caught my eye. Through the sliding glass door leading to the courtyard, I saw a small pile in the middle of the garden. My stomach dropped. I stepped closer. It was my belongings, my designer bag, the one I bought with my first paycheck, the shoes my husband gave me for my birthday, even my work laptop. All of it was lying there, drenched and muddy. "What is this?" My voice trembled. My sister-in-law leaned back with a satisfied smirk. I felt so grossed out having a stranger's things in the house, so I threw them out. "Flaunting a designer bag like that, how arrogant of you." I turned to my in-laws, waiting for them to speak up, to tell her this was unacceptable. They said nothing. "Why didn't you stop her?" I demanded. "What have I done to you? Do you really believe every lie she tells you? Are you not angry about what she just did?" My mother-in-law's eyes flickered away from mine. "Why won't you say anything?" "I can't talk to strangers," she said flatly. "I can't be friendly with someone who isn't family." My sister-in-law's grin widened. "And where's my father-in-law?" I asked, my voice cracking. "I'm the one supporting him while he's off work. I help with the finances here. Shouldn't he be defending me right now?" I heard the shuffle of slippers behind me and turned, only to see him walk past without a word, disappearing into his room. Something inside me snapped. "I see," I said quietly. "I've had enough." "Oh, not going to cry? I'm sorry, to be honest. I never liked you from the beginning. You know." Being raised in an institution and all. She let the insult hang in the air. Just don't regret leaving, loser. I didn't answer. I simply went to my room, grabbed my things, and started packing. The only flicker of concern came from my father-in-law. But it wasn't for me, it was because he knew losing me meant losing financial support. Even so, he didn't stop me. I left. My husband's assignment was far away, but I didn't care. I needed to be anywhere but here. I had never told him what had been happening. I doubted my mother-in-law ever mentioned his sister moving back in. If he had known, he would have called, knowing how strained things were between us. Yet in all our conversations, he'd never once brought her up. Still, as I drove toward him, a gnawing doubt crept in. What if she had already poisoned his opinion of me? What if, when I told him everything, he responded with the same coldness as his family? If that happened, then divorce might be the only answer. When I reached his apartment, the lights were off, he wasn't home yet. I waited inside, the silence almost unbearable, until the door finally opened. What, you're here? His face lit up in surprise. You should have told me. I would have come home earlier. No, just seeing you is enough. His smile was genuine, warm, untouched by the bitterness I had left behind. The tension I'd been holding onto for so long snapped, and the tears I had been swallowing back poured out. What happened? He asked, instantly worried. Did I do something? Tell me. And just like that, I knew he had no idea. I took a deep breath, steadied myself, and began to tell him everything.